Today I'm going to be talking about TikTok ticks.
TikTok tick.
You've heard of TikTok? Have you heard of TikTok ticks?
What about talk tick tocks?
Tick tick ticks.
Talk talks.
I'm so sorry.
Talk tick ticks.
Talk tick tock.
Top TikTok tips to top TikTok ticks.
I didn't even get past the title.
Tell us about
Anyway,
TikTok.
since the beginning of the pandemic, there has been a spike of teenage girls seeking medical help for newly developed tics. Girls with tics are already relatively rare. However, an unusually high number of girls around the world have reported sudden new tics since March 2020.
Like ticks, like a vocal tick, like Tourette's tick, not like
tics,
a.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, not tics as in the thing that sucks your blood. No.
Or just like getting a good mark.
Tick.
All them ticks on clocks. They've been spending more time at home. They've just been listening to the clocks. So many more ticks than usual.
I've been hearing so many ticks recently. Tick. Oh, there's
Developed
one.
7 new ones.
Tick.
I might have
Oh,
Tourette's.
There's one.
Donald Gilbert, who is a neurologist at Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center, that's a
Wow.
mouthful, has said that he now sees about 10 new patients with tics a month, as opposed to 1 new patient a month pre-pandemic.
Whoa.
So it's gone up.
I mean,
1,000%.
That's like one person's experience, but like that's pretty drastic.
Since March 2020, Texas Children's Hospital has also reported 60 new teen patients with tics, whereas they would only get 1 or 2 new patients per year for pre-pandemic. And Johns Hopkins University Tourette's Center now has 10 to 20% of their pediatric patients describing themselves as having sudden tic-like behaviors, whereas pre-pandemic it was 2 to 3%.
That is awful. I've also seen that psychosis rates have been up since the pandemic as well in the UK.
Yeah.
Really sad.
I think that makes more sense than this, though.
Yeah,
Because psychosis can be induced rather than Tourette's, which is more of an underlying neurological issue, isn't it?
Yes.
Hmm.
According to doctors, most of the teens have previously been diagnosed with anxiety or depression, some of which were made worse during the circumstances of the pandemic, as you can imagine. After months of studying this phenomenon, the world's top pediatric experts in the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, have come to the conclusion that something almost all of the girls had in common was they watched TikTok.
Sorry.
Yeah, but that's
Hold
all
on.
of the
Wait, how long
girls.
did How long did it take for them to figure that one out?
January this year, I reckon. They came to that conclusion.
And they're teenagers.
So you could say March to January. Yes, and they're teenagers. So yeah, it'd be really weird for them to watch TikTok, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, do you know something else all these teenagers share is they breathe oxygen.
Yeah,
and
it's like
don't
saying-
quite like their parents and go to school. What could be happening? Oh my god.
Yes.
School. Yeah, it's school. School's to blame.
Jesus.
Something all the girls have in common. Girls.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
man. That's it.
Maybe
They do.
girls
They
are the
all
problem.
girls, to be
Teenage
fair.
girls are the problem, right?
They're also all teenagers. They have that in common.
Oh.
Man, we're on to something here, right?
Yeah.
We're on to something. It's teenage girls in schools. They're doing something.
On TikTok.
Everyone's on TikTok, Luke.
Everyone's in school.
But no. Just these teenage girls are in school, Luke.
So Dr. Gilbert has said that physical symptoms of psychological stress often manifest in ways that patients have seen before in others. He also said that he's witnessed patients experience non-epileptic seizures who in most cases had previously witnessed a relative who had an epileptic seizure.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey do, exactly. Back in January, when they began studying this TikTok phenomenon, videos under hashtag Tourette's had 1.25 billion views, which has since raised to 4.8 billion views. So it's a popular topic this year.
Wait, sorry,
Sounds
hold
like.
on. 1.8 billion or
So it's gone from 1.25 billion in January
Yeah.
to 4.8 billion views
But that
under all the videos under
I mean, that
hashtag Tourette's.
that could just be the TikTokers
Yeah, that could just be
pushing
the-
videos about ticks.
Yeah, I've seen a number of
Hello.
people that have Tourette's on. Sorry, God, this is what's frustrating when people that don't understand like the internet talk about it. Like the number of videos about this thing went up by
This is proof.
it's gonna go up real quick. If something has like if there were a billion videos under Tourette's and they're popular,
Yeah.
people are gonna start using that tag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please continue, Jamp.
So, an idea was that these girls have maybe picked up tics from an overexposure to Tourette's content from and tic-related content on TikTok. However, some doctors aren't as convinced by this TikTok explanation. I think there may be something else that these girls have had in common since March 2020.
School.
School,
Girls.
girls.
They all
There
went
was-
through a global pandemic?
Yeah, maybe they all went through a global pandemic.
No way.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah,
That's
everyone around the
unfortunate.
world kind of went through a global pandemic.
Did I miss that one?
Yeah.
Because I also didn't watch Tiger King, so I feel like
I
I've been
don't keep
missing
up
out on
with
a
the
few
news.
things
I don't
recently.
keep up with the news. No.
Still not seen Squid Game, you know? I'm always out of the loop.
We already know most of these girls have been previously diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and circumstances caused by the pandemic have been known to exacerbate feelings of anxiety and depression, maybe a little bit. While it's also known that tics can be triggered by heightened stress and anxiety. A quote from Dr. Joseph McGuire of Johns Hopkins University Tourettes Center: "There are some kids who watch social media and develop tics, and some who don't have any access to social media and still develop tics. I think there are a lot of contributing factors, including anxiety, depression, and stress."
And TikTok.
And TikTok, yeah. Well,
TikTok.
he clearly forgot
It's
TikTok.
called that.
This
confusing
is just
them.
like, you know that meme, old man yells at cloud?
Yes.
It's
That's what
like
the scientists are doing.
it's hilarious. I mean, I don't know if you're going to bring this up in a bit, but we've talked about very similar things to this on the podcast many times. I don't think it's shocking that these are teenage girls.
It just seems to be coinciding things. For example, a global pandemic could heighten your stress and your anxiety and your depression,
No way.
which could lead to triggering already underlying tics that you were maybe predisposed to. And also, if you're locked down, you're probably going to be on TikTok a lot more. So it just seems like, I don't know,
I think they just
I-
saw the data on ticks and they went, tick,
tick.
tick, TikTok.
Oh my god, it's Kesha. Kesha is the problem.
It's a conspiracy. Yeah, she's been plotting this since 2010.
But seriously though, it's this is hysteria, right? We're talking about hysteria.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It seems so.
Wow.
They didn't explicitly mention it in the article I read, but it seems that way. Dr. Gilbert has said that the symptoms these teens are experiencing are absolutely real, regardless of TikTok's level of involvement, and are most likely indicative of functional neurological disorders, a class of disorders that involves vocal tics and abnormal body movements that aren't related to any underlying disease. So, that seems like these girls were already predisposed to tics, maybe, and the pandemic has caused a lot of them to know.
I read that a lot of the girls were saying the same word. It's like spoon or
No, it was
cheese.
Beans.
Beans.
So
What?
a lot of these girls come in with a vocal tic where they would say beans in a British accent. Even people who did not speak English would say beans in a British accent.
There's probably a TikTok.
And
right?
what was her name? Dr. Caroline Olvera of Rush University Medical Center. She decided to look into this. She went on TikTok and looked through the top Tourette's TikTok creators. And one of the most popular Tourette's TikTok creators was a Brit who one of their vocal tics is saying beans. And a lot of their videos go viral. And so it seems like people have just picked up on the beans. from
I didn't know
TikTok.
that you could like take someone else's tick.
Yeah.
As in,
Yeah.
like, if
If
someone.
you're exposed to it a lot, I guess.
I mean, I guess a tick could be a tick could be kind of anything, really, couldn't it? So if it's in your head, then it could be coming out. I don't know.
Someone in the chat just said ticks tend to be highly suggestible.
Which makes sense.
I feel like my issue with this is, and when I say hysteria, I fully mean hysteria. Do you know how we've spoken about it on the podcast before? Whenever women would do something, and a lot of women would do it, men would be like, "We don't understand this. It's hysteria. They're crazy ladies doing crazy lady things."
It's that darn TikTok.
Well, but whenever it's young girls, especially, like people,
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong, people hate teenage girls. The reason One Direction got so much like crap. Same with Justin Bieber. Same with anything that is enjoyed or liked by teen girls. Everyone hates teen girls, so we don't take them seriously. So if they've like suddenly a lot of them have the sort of tics coming out.
Yeah.
What have they been liking?
Yeah, you've got to say, oh, it's hysteria. They don't actually have this. It's just hysteria from them watching too much TikTok. The same way that like a weird amount of transphobia towards trans men that are like teenagers comes from, oh, they're just our lost little teenage girls. They don't know anything. Like this keeps on happening to people that society perceives as teenage girls. This sort of thing.
Oh, yes.
It's I can't believe that a bunch of scientists got together and didn't think, are we saying that this is hysteria? Maybe we should look at this again. You know? Like, that's a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah. It's possible that TikTok does have some level of involvement in that if you do end up on TikTok and you're exposed to a lot of content, it could make your tics worse. But the suggestion is that it's like, it's giving people tics almost. It's almost passing on tics, which it's
I
not.
will remind you that when books first started being popular, they thought that it would ruin people because they would not go outside. And then when TV started being popular, they said that, it will ruin people's enjoyment of books. And then YouTube got popular and, it will ruin TV and books. Jeez. And there was reports at the time when books started being popular going, all of these kids are getting lost in books. And now we would see getting lost in books as a sign of intelligence.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, because before the sort of printing press came around and, people couldn't read. The way that you engaged with things was listening to, a lot of religious people were a bit wound up about it because the way you would learn things is by listening to them talk. And if you can read things for yourself, oh boy, now they've got a problem.
Don't need you anymore. No,
Oh, yeah.
I can read someone's smarter.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous that how much we just kind of undervalue the experiences of teenage girls, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's my story.
Teenage girls are making it up, I guess.
That's not the takeaway. No.
It's not TikTok, they're fakers.
Well, no, it is interesting that that essentially we've got hysteria. The whole concept of hysteria is still kind of prevalent, even though we're aware of what it is and know that throughout history it's been used to just sort of devalue experiences. I'm not saying that TikTok can't play a role, but it's weird that it's being blamed solely on TikTok when they all have depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
Right? Bit odd.
Oh no.
The wombs are to blame.
Those wandering wombs again. Where will they go next?
If you enjoyed that clip, head over to patreon.com/SCI GUYS where you can find the full show. Or you can stay here and catch up on old SCI GUYS episodes. Or you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at SCI GUYS Pod to find out when we're doing more live shows.